be ready for the zombie apocalypse.
And that's another thing. That's another thing about you in general, though. Like ever since I met you, bro, I feel like I don't know one thing that you can't do.
I know, right?
Like it's literally, like it. I don't what. So that's the question. What can't you do?
Can't lose, man. No,
can't lose. That is the perfect answer.
Nah, can't lose. But like that's the thing is like I was having a conversation the other day about how if you think about it, like nobody has predicted the future, right? If you think about all of the books, the movies, and things that, or even people from the past who made predictions about what the future would be like.
All right, for sure.
Everybody's wrong. Everybody was wrong. Like think about it. Like if you've seen
movies
that came out,
right? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like you think about movies that came out 20 years ago, and they were like, oh, in 2022, this is what's going to be going on in the world. Everybody's got it wrong.
Right.
The writers, everybody, like nobody would imagine that we're here in 2022 and, we're in this situation.
I remember, what was it? Was it year 2000? I think, they was calling the K2 year
the
two.
Y2K.
Y2K. Yeah. And they were saying at 12 o'clock, everything was just going to fucking shut down or something.
Yeah. They were saying that the computers wouldn't understand.
Yeah.
The binary code and all that wouldn't understand a set back to zero. To them, they felt like that the computers would think that everything goes back to zero.
Yeah.
So it means shut down everything and start over.
Yeah, but then the Mayans thing in like 2012 or some shit, or Mayans calendar.
There's another one coming up. There's a 26. It's always some end of the world conspiracy that's coming up. There's another one that's coming up. I think in 2042. There's one in 2060 that's coming up. That's some end of the world, conspiracy theory. And unfortunately, the world is not going to end. It's going to drag on and on.
Right.
Even if all humans die and get wiped out somehow.
Right.
It's going to keep going on and on until, the sun expands big enough to either completely charcoal the earth or consume it. You know what I'm saying? It's going to drag on and on.
All right, real quick for a lot of people. I mean, you don't gotta explain it in 45 minutes and that, but I want the people to know like your story. Like if you can't, you don't got whatever you don't want to say, you don't got to, or and just so y'all know, man, he has a beautiful family, man. Like he's a huge family man too. Like that's another thing I really respect. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm a everyday dad too, so it's different. You know what I'm saying? But he has a beautiful family. But anyway, I want you to tell us your story in the best way you can.
Man, I'm gonna try not to take up too much time with this story, but I'll try to make it short and sweet. But and I appreciate that, by the way, and likewise.
For sure.
I always respect what I've seen in you as well.
For sure.
And other fathers in general, especially Black fathers.
For sure. Definitely.
But man, my story, I guess my father wasn't around. I was raised by a single Black mom. It was 7 of us. So I came from really, really humble beginnings. I moved around a lot. I grew up in, my mom, didn't have, a lot of money. She ended up working a lot of jobs, and, the typical Black impoverished child in America beginnings, lived in the projects. My mother was really amazing though, because, again, no help, like things that we can't fathom she was able to do. Like even as a father now and with a wife, and I only have, with my wife and I, we have 4 children with the 2 of us, and my mom had 7 and it was just her. The stuff that my mom was able to do is crazy. I mean, she brought us from, my mom went from volunteering at a certain place and us living into the projects. By the time I was, 17 or 18, we came out of the ghetto, and my mom was like in a top level position. Like she got up to a city director position, you know what I'm saying? So I got to see that.
Gotcha.
But that's, that was my beginning. So like, I fought for like, to look for when I was a kid, like love and passion and things like that. I was the oldest boy. So I was, the defender of my family and the man. All my sisters were older than me, but I was the first boy. So I was like the defender, the protector, the man in the house. So I got into a lot of fights growing up. Like I get into fights for my younger brothers, or I get into fights because my older sisters. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I did. That's where kind of my love for fighting started to come from. Because I started to learn from movies, and I got into training at the Boys and Girls Club, and the free karate classes, and then the boxing down at the getting into that, then learning from movies and teaching myself, then being able to train, and then I was like, oh, I could really fight.
Right.
Then I started liking it, and trying, getting into fights for just to see what my skills is like. So,
real quick, are you still undefeated?
I'm still undefeated. I'm probably about 7,000-0 right now. I still.
Hey, I don't know how many fights of yours. When I first, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but when I first seen, I think maybe your first 2 or 3, I remember, I was like, bro, can really fucking fight. Like, I mean, I'm talking about like you got the kicks and like I wouldn't typically expect. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, bro, can really fucking fight. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. I was tuned in ever since then. But my bad. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I joke around like that. Obviously, not 7,000-0, but like I got into a lot of street fights. I got into a lot of. I used to compete in martial arts. I was in competition fights. Jumped and all of that. I even did when I was like, for just for fun. Like my friend was talking about like these little street fight leagues or whatever. I went and rolled up to a street fight league with really no practice. I was out of shape or whatever. I was like, all right, let's see what happens. I was like, I'm gonna show you. I was like, it don't matter who they put me against. This is my daughter knocking on the door right now, but
he good. Hey, real quick,
it don't matter who they put me against.
Y'all got it. Like, I wish y'all knew him. Like, but very humble, sarcastic. It's hilarious, but hey, keep going, man.
Yeah, man. But I was like,
I know what you're saying. Why you say like,
and not even in a cocky way. It's just that, like,
right.
No matter, even in a terrible shape, I'm like, I can figure out how to beat anybody. Like, figure out how to win.
Right.
I'm gonna get the win. I will figure it out. I don't care who you are, what you do. I'll figure out how to beat you. Because it's a mental game.
Yeah.
And it's just I pride myself on that. Anyway, so like I said, I developed my passions from there, and like fighting and the music, the poetry, and looking for father figures, and like looking for father figures in music and rap. I used to pretend that like people that was dead was like my father, because all I could get was the perfect image of them. They couldn't disappoint me. I could only learn from the best images of them. So like, it was a large part of my childhood. I pretended, Malcolm X was my dad. I pretended Nelson Mandela was my dad. You know what I'm saying? And from there, like, I just grew in life being ambitious at being the best at whatever I put myself into.
Right.
And a lot of that ambition to be the best, I kind of ignored the systems of the world. Like, for example, when I got into music, I didn't really care about the business side of music. I was like, I just want to be the best in music, like skill-wise. Same thing with fighting. It's like, I don't care about the business, I just literally want to be the best at it. Right. So I would do that. That was what was driving me, was trying to be the best at anything that I involved in. It manifested into even, relationships, family, dad, boyfriend, husband, whatever it was that I got involved in, that's what I really wanted to do.
How did you get into like personal training? Because that's originally how me and you met.
That is how we met. I kind of got tired of working like dead end traditional jobs, and I was like, what is something that I kind of like, and I really like physical fitness. You know what I'm saying? Physical and mental fitness. So I got into that. But then, that turned into another traditional job. It became like a job, Veered away from that too. And now, given all my experiences full circle, like now I'm focused on the simple things in life, life, love, financial freedom, because of the world that we live in now, So, I'm trying to focus on being able, like even the YouTube stuff, turning YouTube into a check where you can literally just show your life, show your passions, give your perspective, and you can make money by helping people with your experiences and your viewpoint. You know what I'm saying? And getting into property ownership, learning how to make passive income. So you can literally enjoy the simple things in life that everybody complicates so much.
Right.
Really, You know, people want to be loved, they want to have time, they want to be free, and they want to enjoy life.
Do you feel?
Everything around us is kind of threatening that in the world that we live in. It's crazy
Do you
because the
feel
things
like
that are our birthright,
right?
you know, we got to fight for. You know, we got to fight for to have a little bit of what is every human being's birthright. And so, you know, that's the type of time I'm on right
Do
now.
you feel? Gotcha. Now, another question that I'm excited to ask, or anxious to ask: Are you? What's going on with the music? You still into that, or what?
Yeah, man, like that's my first love. I know people see me doing like, you know, a lot of the boxing and the martial arts and the fitness stuff and the you know, the controversial stuff that I do. But the first, you know, my first love was really well, it was obviously fighting and then music. It was really those were really my two first loves, even before like fitness and all of that.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm actually um, I'm working on new music. You know, I'm working on like a totally different sound. It's still hip hop based, but it's more like I could say like the album that I'm working on now is like almost everything has like a unique. You know, I want to say maybe like a little bit of house music type feel, but like every track got like is like melody. I'm still
Yeah.
the bars is still high level, but it's just like a feel good album.
Hey,
You
real
know what I'm
quick,
saying?
bro. You got some of the most. Can I even say this? uh I don't know, bro. You always kind of been just like on another level when it came to like when it comes to the bars, bro. You always kind of it's just now some people, you know, they if they not in the same in that area that genre,
Mm-hmm.
they kind of you know what I'm saying kind of lost a little bit. But yo, bro, I think you talented as
Yeah,
your bars has always been like I said. That's the best way I can say it. Next level, you know what I'm saying,
yeah.
or
You
just
know, and I appreciate that, but you know, like what I've noticed is you know, people don't get credit for that anymore. Like it doesn't really matter. Like I remember I used to have you know, countless arguments about lyrics, and I'll get into like, you know, if you're not super popular, you can't even speak on like you know, they don't want to hear what you got to say about lyrics. So it's like I just kind of just do my thing and keep my bars impressive to me
for sure.
because I kind of became I don't want to use the term like a hater, but like you know how somebody who just nothing impresses them, like it's just like that ain't whatever. And then when people see that, you like people kind of get offended by that, and you kind of get a bad look, like where they're like, oh, he's just a hater, or he's like, you know. But it's like if it really doesn't impress you, should you hide it? Like imagine, like I'll give you an example, like Floyd Mayweather, for example. I'm saying like, I'm saying Floyd. I'm sure Floyd. He'll tell you he's the greatest boxer of all. I mean, he's one of the greatest boxers of all time. But like, I'm sure he sees boxers that are good boxers or whatever, you know, good at what they do or whatever, but compared to his skill set and what he requires,
Yeah.
and not to put myself in like, oh, I'm the Floyd Mayweather of rap or whatever.
Right. Right. Right.
Again, because that's something that could get turned against you.
Right.
But
Right.
seeing something that really is genuinely not impressive to him, but him having to fake and be like, oh no, that was amazing or that was
Right.
incredible, you know. It's like if it's not that shouldn't offend people. Like when you give your genuine opinion about lyrics, but
I'm laughing because, bro, you know, we Facebook friends. We've been Facebook
mm-hmm,
friends for about 10 years for sure.
mm-hmm.
Bro, I've seen you like and this is why it's so interesting. Like for an example, like he just now said, like he just brought up Floyd Mayweather, right? I've seen like situations like maybe I guess we could be talking about like Tom Brady, and he'll say something that's just so opposite of you know what I'm saying everybody
Yeah,
else's,
yeah.
and he'll bring facts to what he's saying though. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm,
he get in arguments with you know not even like real arguments, but you know what I'm saying like they go back and forth, and he proves his point every time. It just be so interesting. Like I used to get on Facebook like I wonder what brother said today. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause
yeah,
you always kept that little thing going. So I was wondering like
yeah.
what.
I mean, it's just I think like the first thing I try to do is look at every situation logically, and what most people do is they hear about some new information or they get exposed to something or something comes up, and the first thing they do is they fall into the wave of the momentum of where it's going. Where is it going?
Right.
And they tend to follow with that, whether they're angry about it or I'm offended by this. that's going on because
Right.
most people are offended right now, so I'm offended. Or, oh, this is interesting right now, I'm gonna jump into it. The first thing I do is I check myself and say, hold on, let me logically evaluate this whole situation from the outside looking in,
Yeah.
and draw a logical perspective, not emotional, not
Mm,
influenced by what everybody else is feeling or thinking or doing, and
yeah.
look at it that way. And then I really just be speaking from a logical standpoint. I rarely ever speak from a biased perspective.
For
Rarely
sure.
ever.
You're
You know what
right.
I'm saying?
Right. Right.
And
Right.
people they don't like that because it's like, oh, I don't, like I said, it's funny that I fell back from all of that because, like I said, I kind of became like, and people think this is funny, but I feel like I kind of got blackballed. Like what do they call it? I think they call it like shadow
Shadow
banning.
ban.
Where,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 Because I used to be on Instagram and Facebook. I used to post stuff, or I used to, whatever, get into debates or whatever I was doing, and like, I used to get a lot of views, a lot of likes,
Mm.
and a lot of attention, and then all of a sudden it just one day kind of like stopped. Like I don't feel like, it's like shadow banning was what it felt like.
Bro, that's probably exactly what it is.
I think Payless did it. Like they did a little experiment in the mall where they literally changed. They gave like a French name to the name Payless, and then they put up a fake mock store, and then they hiked the prices up of all their shoes. It was Payless shoes. They hiked all the prices up and changed the logo, and they had all these wealthy people or whoever was coming in there. They were spending, 100 times the value of this $5 shoe
Oh,
because it was some fancy brand name or whatever, just looking like dummies, just looking like a bunch of dumb as a bucket of cereal. Like, I mean, the idea, and I blame Kanye West for a lot of this stuff too, because the idea that you are really going to pay someone for a name, for a logo.
right. Right.
And the stuff is made. They could lie to you. The stuff is made in the same factories as the low quality stuff. If you think about the materials that they make this stuff with, when it's wholesale, I mean it's cents on a dollar, and
Right.
then because of the name, they bring it out and then they sell it for thousands of dollars what it's worth. And people who undervalue themselves will spend money on this stuff because they feel like it somehow enhances their humanity in some way, shape, or form. It makes them a bigger, better person if they put these labels on them. I
Crazy.
don't get it.
And it's crazy, but that makes
Yeah,
a
man.
couple different
I
things.
I blame the you let me know how deep we're gonna go in here, but I really blame
Hey,
the
however you want to, man. Go. I already know. I already know. So hey,
yeah,
take.
man. I really blame the we gotta blame the people who you probably in the last 200, 300 years, the people who were in power, who shaped the world, because they literally created an economic system that works the way that it works now. They created classes. They created a system of economy where you have like a military that gives your dollar value, and they created this whole world economy BS where they literally create a society of people where you're. I put it. It's actually on my YouTube channel. I put a quote on one of my videos. It's an original quote of mine where I basically say, um, they make you they things that were given to you. I'll probably have to tag it in here or something, but I basically say like how you know they steal from you that which is priceless, which is time. They take
Mm-hmm.
your time and they make you give them your time to get back something that has no value that they have tried to give value to, which is money. Then they make you pay that money to them just for a mere fraction of what is your birthright, which is time. You know what I'm saying? Then they tax you on the money that you just made, that you sacrifice your time for.
Oh
You know
man.
what I'm saying? It's just a whole backward system. But we live in this, and the people who put these, I don't even think the originators knew that it would go this far. But
Right.
ever since then, generation after generation, they just stuck the knife in deeper and deeper. And people are kind of waking up now where they're like, I want to find different ways to live and enjoy my life and stuff like that, but we're still enslaved to that system.
Mentally, yeah.
Those pieces, that they're still deep rooted, and they're not going anywhere anytime soon.
Now that you say this, and because I know how deep you take things, like, and your opinion on things just be so like, wow. I really want to know what you feel, how you feel about the coronavirus and the vaccines, things like that. So I want to hear from you. I gotta hear this.
All right, so you about to get
I can't wait.
you about to get Professor King Kufi. Nah, but you know, like I said, I try to stay away from conspiracy theories, and I like to live in the realm of as much facts as
Right,
possible, as much as we can fact, like an objective truth. I
right,
try to live there because even the truth in facts even kind of get, you know, lost in perspective sometimes.
right,
But so I'm gonna try to stay away from the conspiracy theory. So let's talk about virus, for example. The coronavirus has been around for a long time. Variations of it have been around for a long time, long before, you know, it broke out in 2019. A lot of people don't know that it's been around because you had the conspiracy theorists. They were like, "Oh my God, look at this movie that talked about the coronavirus. Look at this book that talked about it." Yeah, because scientists knew about the. Writers are able to read books and get information and ideas about their art that they're putting together, about their
mhm,
books that they're writing or their movies that they're making.
right,
That's what they do.
right,
So the coronavirus has been around, and variations of it has been around. And viruses they literally can go back in fossil records and find remnants of viruses that have always existed. There's so many different life forms on this planet alone that range from microscopic life, extremophiles, extrudophiles, you
mhm,
know, single cell life form, multi-cell life form, carbon-based life form, you know, life forms that live in water, live on land.
right,
Viruses are a life form. They
right,
ain't going nowhere. They literally, their only job is to infect hosts. That's what they do. You know, so epidemics happen because of the population that we have and how dirty people are and how much germs are being exchanged and
right,
people at varying health levels and things like that. Viruses' jobs are to get smarter, learn how to get past defenses, learn how to beat immune systems. That's how they live. They live
right,
off of living in hosts.
right.
So I say that to say that is it possible that the coronavirus you know, was somehow created or manufactured so that big wig pharmacy companies could get an economy boost off of it? Sure, very possible.
Right.
Could it happen naturally? Sure, 100%, very possible, especially in this day and age. But the fact that it did happen and we saw everyone capitalizing off of it for guess what? Money.
Money.
All of these pharmaceutical companies are they're privately owned. They're independently owned. And they literally pay the government are they're privately owned. They're independently owned. And they literally pay the government and do all this stuff. They got lobbyists and all of that. And what did they do when the coronavirus came? They saw opportunity.
Mm.
We want to make a vaccine to fight this. And then what did people do? They started panicking because that's what people do. They panic. They're ruled by fear.
Right.
And that's what happened. The thing got out of control. So then more of the false information about coronavirus started spreading around. Meanwhile, guess who's benefiting off of it? These privately owned pharmaceutical companies. They making these vaccines to shoot people up with, and they're getting paid tons and tons of money from the people in the government, from our own money, our taxes. They getting paid millions upon millions of dollars. But guess who else getting paid? Everybody else. The social media networks is getting paid off of
Everything
it. The
goes up.
YouTubers, because they're making content about it.
Yep.
They
Yep.
they saw it getting out of control where they was like, oh, too much false information is getting spread. This is out of control. So then they had to start saying we have to start stopping them, putting disclaimers on them and stuff like that. So people started coming up with code names for coronavirus. But that's all that happened. And guess what? Now it's a thing of the past. And guess what? It's gonna happen again. It's
Well,
gonna be something else. Yeah. But let's talk about the vaccinations, for example. Like people everybody who was, and again, I'm not for or against vaccinations, but there's a science to vaccines and how they work, objective truth of how vaccines work. Okay, so the conspiracy theorists will say, you know, oh, they're putting computer chips in us. They don't need a vaccine to put a computer chip in you.
They got an
They
Apple Watch.
Yeah, they don't need to vaccinate you to put a computer chip. First of all, you've been vaccinated several times throughout your life already. You know what I'm saying? You've already been vaccinated several times. There is a way that vaccines work and how they work in the body. And yeah, some of the vaccines they do use like chemicals that are considered toxic, but they have to use them to preserve the virus the right way that they need to. And guess what the body's going to do to that? It does the same thing it does when you ingest other toxic chemicals from your food and from the air and from water that you drink. Your body's going to get rid of it because our bodies are literally designed to get rid of waste.
Yep.
So they'd be like, I don't want no mercury in me, but you consume mercury every day.
Right.
Like on the daily, you consume mercury in some way, shape, or form, whether it's through your water or your food or something that you're eating. But it's little doses of, that's what I'm saying about objective truth and being able to step away from whether it's that side or this side and find the objective truth in it. The conspiracy theorists are usually over here on the extreme level where they don't need no proof. They just need a crazy story and they're going to run with that.
Right.
Then you got the people over here that's just afraid of everything. Anything they tell somebody tell them, they're going to believe them. They believe the government, they believe the experts, and they're going to just go with that. Right. Then you have the people in between that maybe believe both of it. And then you have the even smaller percentage like me who just don't believe nobody and just sits back and be like, let me find the objective truth in all of this madness.
Right.
So, yeah, and they don't. You're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah. They don't need computer chips for what? Because we're already controlled. And you'll see people talk about like, oh, the Illuminati and stuff like that and the New World Order. They want to. Why? Why would they ever want to do that? Because the people. The New World Order is not even a real thing. Like, sure, you have organizations that are secret organizations or whatever. Right. They push this New World Order Illuminati stuff because it's a distraction to y'all to what's really going on. Right. And what's really going on is that there's small groups of people with ridiculous amounts of money, and their power comes from everybody else working for them. Yeah. And all they don't need no computer chips for you. They just need y'all to keep doing what y'all doing. Keep fueling the economy. Keep getting up and going to work. Keep using your devices. Keep paying your bills. And that's all they need you to do. Yeah. And we're doing that. We're entertaining to death too. Where we and this might get off a little topic a little bit because I don't know if you've been seeing in the algorithms, like people are talking ever since this James Webb telescope went up. People are talking more about like, oh, the possibility of extraterrestrial life and aliens and stuff out there. And with us, it's like we are we're really entertained to death. We always want to be entertained. And I get it too, to a certain extent, because we're so subconsciously stressed. We're obviously consciously stressed, but we have a lot of subconscious stress and pressure as well, which is why we love entertainment so much now. Whether it's on our phones, we want to laugh, we want to see something interesting, because that's a relief to our heavy amounts of subconscious stress that we. Because think about it. We're born into this world that we didn't ask to be here. Right. We just got to get in where we fit in, and we got to go with the flow of how it's designed. We don't have any, most of us don't have any stock in changing it. We're just born and just like, oh man, this is the system I'm in. We got to follow these laws. Oh, we got to go here. We got to do this. We got to do that, or else. And that's a subconscious stress. You know what I'm saying? You got the conscious stress where, you tired, or you hurting about something, or you lost somebody or whatever. But then there's subconscious stress of like, yo, what is this that we're in? Right. What is this what is this world? What is this place? Why do I got to do these things? Why do I have to do this to live? Right. And we got a lot of subconscious stress. So we just want entertainment. We want to be entertained all the time. We need it.
What you throwing out the
thing is, like, I think that's what drives me. Like, when I find out there's something that I haven't done, or I can't do, or I'm not good at, or even something that is intimidating to me. See, a lot of people don't want to admit that. Something that's intimidating to me, like flying planes, for example. Like when you're from the outside looking in, you're just like, it was intimidating to me because it's like, you're flying a plane in the air. There's nothing up there. Like, what if something goes wrong? Oh my God. I flew on planes and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, what's so, and most of the pilot industry in America, especially, is like 90%. I think it's like 85, 90% white men. the numbers may be a little different, but it's intimidating when you see that all the time. Even as a kid, it's like, oh, is this a complicated thing to do? Is it so
Right.
difficult? And then and really what it is just learning how to do it.
Mm.
When you learn how to do it, you eliminate the fear and the intimidation. And you're like, oh, this is not so hard. Or actually, I'm really good at this.
Yeah.
And then you learn like, oh, the top, when they're flying like the big jets, it's even easier to fly those big jets than it is the small planes. And
Gotcha.
you kind of learn more and you expose yourself to more. So like, I try to do that when I find out there's things that I didn't really know I had a real love for flying planes until, because I wanted to do it because I was intimidated by it.
Oh, so you really out here flying planes?
Yeah,
Oh
I
shit!
really learned how to do it, and so I was intimidated. It wasn't like I had a passion for it or anything. I was
Right.
intimidated, but then when I did it and I actually got good at it, I was like, oh well, I actually like this. You know what I'm saying? It's actually cool.
Yeah.
It's actually fun. It's really cool to do it. And then you learn about the industry. You learn about the science and the aviation and the science of flying and physics. And I was already into that too. There's another reason why I liked it. But for things that I don't do, man, I try to do. Like I said, I try not to lose, and I try to keep trying to expand and learn more and add more to my plate, because what else are we alive for?
Right.
You know
Right.
what I mean?
Another thing, y'all, if y'all don't know him, but this man, no homo, but his body is built like Thor or something. I don't know who, I don't know what or how, but it's been like this. What? How do you like? Of course, you work out and things, but like, what's your eating regimen? Or what? Like, how do you keep your body like that? Seven. I can't. I can get my body there, to take some pictures and everything. I could work out
Yeah,
for a while, take some
it,
pictures, and then right out the pictures, it just start. But how
it's
you keep it
hard. Yeah,
like 24?
you know, you know. I think too, like I'm not always in tip top shape either. Like
You make it look like it.
I mean, I try to stay like the dudes who stay like that 24/7 year round, they on stuff.
True.
That's another thing we got to talk about. Like, there's a lot of people that are on stuff,
True.
and some of them don't look like they're on stuff. But it's like the most people don't want to get it out the mud. They don't want to get it out the blood. They're always and the mud. They don't want to get it out the blood. They're always. And I'm not saying they're not hard workers, but I just wish people were more honest about being on performance enhancing
Right.
drugs. You know what I'm saying? And it's harder when you're natural, and it really comes down to, because like I said, I keep bringing this up, the stresses, the conscious and the subconscious stresses of life makes it harder for
Yep.
you to stay focused, to stay committed, to stay all of that. And for me, I think what helped me be disciplined more is like I started trying to implement fasting. Like before, when I was younger,
Mm.
it was all about like trying to get all this protein and low my carbs and eating around the clock and all of that. And as I got older, I was like, really, you start to learn the science of the body.
In a
I
minute.
started trying to throw like fasting in every day, like at least like 5, 6 times a week, and not nothing extreme, but like I would try to eat my last meal. And again, I don't try to put too much pressure on myself, but I try to eat my last meal like around 8, 7 p.m. if I can.
Right.
No matter how late I stay up, that was my last meal.
Mm.
And I try to have, 16, but again, not too stressed. Sometimes it's 14. I try to have 16 hours, including my sleep, where I don't eat.
Right.
And so I'll wake up and I'll do my workout. I'll do my workout like on an empty stomach.
I do too.
Um,
So
try
you
to
all
do,
into intermittent fasting?
yeah, intermittent fasting is what it is. And so I try to do that. And again, it's calories in and calories out. Like I'm a big guy, so I can get away with eating a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't. We just because we can eat a lot, doesn't mean we should be eating that much. So like I could easily eat like 5,000 calories a day, no problem.
Right.
No problem. 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 calories, no problem.
Right.
I can do it in my sleep. But I don't want to. Eating like that is not going to help me feel and look the way that I want. I can get away with it, but
Right.
I don't want to. So I try to, again, within reason, I try to watch what I eat. I try to stay in some sort of caloric deficit with high nutrient levels. And then when I started to go vegan, a lot of people won't admit this. It made it harder. I feel like it made it harder for me to stay in shape at first
Mm.
until I figured it out. Until I
Right.
figured out, you know, a way to do it. And
Right.
then now I feel like doing it the way that I do it now, it actually benefits me more. Like I feel better. And again, I'm not no vegan pusher either, because you can be super healthy on any diet,
Right.
whether it's vegan. If you learn how to eat right, meaning your vitamins, your minerals are right, because that's the trick. That's really the real secret. Keeping your vitamins and minerals balanced and eating the right nutritional density every day. Try to do it every day.
Right.
Don't even focus on no cheat days. If a cheat day come up, it got to be literally off the cuff. And when you do cheat, you know, make it a cheat meal and immediately get back on your stuff, because health is wealth. That's your main focus.
Miss Wanda just said, I hear it's not good to train on an empty stomach. Eat fruits like superfood, berries, and strawberries.
Yeah, you know, to be honest with you, you know, it probably is not good. You know, that was one of those. That's one of the remnants of like the little training. Because
I don't agree with that though.
I mean, now I'm gonna give you both sides,
Go ahead.
because it may not be good, especially for somebody who's not built for it.
Right.
You know, if you train on an empty stomach, there are benefits like
Benefits. Yep.
increased HGH levels, increased testosterone production.
Mm-hmm.
Your body automatically likes to go into ketosis when you train on an
Yep.
empty stomach. If you do a high intensity workout for about 45 minutes,
Yep.
but on an empty stomach, your
Yep.
body will go into ketosis, and
And
it'll tend to stay in ketosis for the next 8 hours.
yep.
So you're in fat burning mode for energy for the next eight
Mm-hmm.
hours. I wouldn't recommend doing it for somebody who's not used to it. You didn't
Right.
build up the,
You
the
saying
fitness
everything.
level.
You saying everything that I was about to say. So I ain't
Yeah.
got to.
Okay. So yeah. So now it's miserable sometimes.
Yeah,
Now
for
it
sure.
was miserable most of the time. And you will have that one day where you get up and train on an empty stomach, and you feeling like a superhero. You're like, oh, I could do this forever. But
Right.
most days you get up and train on an empty stomach, it doesn't feel good, but you know you're doing yourself good.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You would, and then training with a lot on your stomach is just as bad.
For sure.